I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work and are backed by science. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. We use only top-of-the-line formulations dosed for maximum results and the best flavoring systems available. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Dave Palumbo here with an RXMuscle news update. We're going to be talking about a new sport that has come out called Fireball. Joining us today to talk about the sport is the sport's inventor, Max Bartoli, and our good friend Arne List and his son Evan, who actually plays the sport. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave, for having us.
Now, Arne, you're involved in everything lately. I don't even know how you have the time to do everything. You're in movies, you're doing this, you're doing that. We had you on the show, a couple of weeks ago with Ed. Connor's talking about old days, stories from the Gold's Gym time. First of all, how did you get involved with Fireball? Where'd you get in? How'd that meeting take place?
Well, I had met Max in 2014. And that was, 5, 6 years ago, and we had worked on a couple of film projects. We were working on some film projects, and he came up with this idea of Fireball, and we trademarked it, and he approached me if I'd like to be involved as a principal, and I'm like, totally, man. I have kids. I'm all about sports. Always been looking for something after I got out of bodybuilding that I could really feel good about encouraging my kids and young kids and athletes in general to get involved in. So we did that, and then we really didn't make a push with the sport until, 2018, Max?
Yeah, we tested it for 3 years in Italy, US, and Mexico. And then on January 8th, 2018, we launched our grassroots campaign.
Max, let me ask you a question. How did you come up with the idea for Fireball? Because, you see these movies about guys coming up with weird sports and stuff like that, and it's not easy to come up with an original sport. I mean, we have a lot of sports already out there. What gave you the idea for this thing, and give us the premise of the sport?
Yeah, the premise started in 1994. I've been my life, and with my best friend Roberto Piccoli, we were trying to come up with an X would allow us to train the entire class, sort of a warm-up conditioning type of thing, right? To develop stamina and explosiveness, which are, as usual, opposites. So we came up with this idea of having a ball pass, around every 2 seconds and never stopping on the court. Men and women always playing together. We played it and we used it as a form of exercise to develop these two things, these two characteristics for 20 years. And then in 2014, we decided that, it's good enough. Let's get serious here and let's see if this could stand on its feet. And as Arne said, we trademarked it, we incorporated ourselves, and then we did 3 years of testing, and then we launched the sport on January 8th. And to our surprise, we went from 0 to over 3,000 athletes in 12 months.
Wow.
We did 2 tournaments. We're now present in 4 countries. We it's played in Mexico big time, in Italy, Spain, and Ecuador, and we just stopped the US. So,
what's your nationality?
I'm Italian.
Okay,
now
so
American as well, but Italian.
Obviously, that's why you launched in Italy. Why do you think it picked up so much in Mexico? What was the catch there? You think they just liked the nature of the sport, or why was it so popular there?
Good karma? No. Besides that, I think that is also, Mexicans are very good. Have been historically very good with sports that involve, or activities that involve balls. The Aztecs even had a similar match, a similar sport, a similar activity. Of course, for the losers, it didn't end up usually very well because they were sacrificed. But now without that aspect, no, they're great. They really embraced it. But everywhere we go, we get the same results. And this is because it's the only team sport that is mandatory co-ed, where both genders perform at exactly the same level. There is no difference in performance level. Right, Arne? Do you see any?
No. Oh, yeah. Let me ask you that, Arne. I don't believe that. You know, there's been men's and women's divisions since the beginning of sports because men seem to have more strength and be able to perform at a higher level athletically. And I'm not saying I'm not trying to be chauvinistic or anything like that. I'm just saying that just seems to be men have testosterone. Obviously, we seem to be better athletes. Why is this sport the great equalizer, where you can actually have men and women competing at the same level?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is because of the fact, Dave, you have 7 players on each team, and 2 of them have to be from the opposite gender. So you can have any combination that adds up to 7, but at least 2 minimum from the opposite gender. So you could even have 5 women and 2 men against 5 men and 2 women, which we've had before, and in those circumstances, sometimes the women did better. I think the main thing is because you can only hold the ball for 2 seconds. This is not a sport, and and the other main rule is you cannot stop running. So you're constantly moving and constantly passing the ball, and you literally have to use every single member on your team. This is not a sport where 1 or 2 athletes can dominate the game like what we have in a lot of sports, like the NBA, for example, or whatever. It just doesn't work that way. You have to react and move so quickly that you literally don't even have time, if you're who you're passing to, think about who you're passing to. It's so much about reflex, anticipation, angles, sport like you and that. Yeah.
It's not about explosiveness. I mean, men are more explosive. Right. Women last longer. Here, if you are explosive but you don't last, you're dead. So number 1. Number 2, you need to have you need to develop an amazing peripheral vision. Women are known to have a better peripheral vision than men. We are more focused on something, right? When we lock on something, that's it. But the women are better at it. It's just, I so remember an anecdote, of what happened in DC during one of the first demonstrations that we did. We had a young couple, fantastic bodies, both of them, husband and wife. That is very competitive. They decided to go one against the other, and of course, one was marking the other. Right. The lady understood exactly how the whole thing had to be played. She killed her husband in the sense that it was like after 5 minutes of running, the husband was like. And they entered and started.
I know what it is. This sport is so much about communication, and I don't mean this it just is. I think in general, women communicate more than men. I think men are more, I don't want to say introverted, but they're okay with being by themselves, or they're not so communicative a lot unless they have a podcast. But
can we ask Kevin, because he played it? I mean,
well, I'm showing some footage now of the game. How do you score? How do you score in this sport?
Every time you pass the ball and your teammate catches, it's a point.
Oh, really?
So we've had matches that you get over 350 points in a game, and we've had matches that the team was only able to get like 30 or 40 points.
But you can only hold the ball for 2 seconds.
Yep.
So if you only hold the ball for 2 seconds, I mean, unless the other team has possession more than you do, it's basically whoever wins has the possession the longest. Is that what it amounts to?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. And you can auto pass the ball to yourself one time, which means you can throw it up in the air and catch it yourself, and the 2 seconds starts over again.
Gotcha.
So it's really like acrobatic, athletic dance. Really, it's pretty amazing.
Now, can you throw it back and forth to the same person?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, what's to stop 2 people from dominating who are just like really, kind of on the same level as each other?
Nothing, except for because of the fact that you'll get people in between them. Actually, what you're starting to lead to, Dave, one of our goals, because the ball moves so fast, one of our goals is to have the ball with sensors and players wearing gloves. Right. With and have Fireball Extreme Challenge be the first 100% officiated game by technology, because it moves so fast. It's hard sometimes to keep track. Right.
I understand. So now, if you hold the ball more than 2 seconds, what does the other team get the ball? Is that how it works?
No, every team has the ball possession 10 consecutive times. If somebody holds the ball for more than 2 seconds, that ball possession stops, and whoever has the ball starts again.
Oh, so in other words, so how long does each team get the ball for?
Oh, it's infinite. As long as the ball doesn't touch.
No, let's say yellow team has the ball. How long do they get the ball for? Till someone intercepts it?
I think he's asking a different question, David. A full match of Fireball has 10 captains on each team that get 10 inbounds each. So a full match could have 100 inbounds for each team. So Evan might be the captain, right? And he gets to inbound the ball 10 times. And then the next captain is his teammate. And the next, so it goes back and forth. You get 10 inbounds from one team, 10 inbounds from the other team. 10 in, like that.
Yeah. How long do you have the ball for, though?
It depends on how many passes you can make. If you pass the ball and you make 35 passes, okay. In the Mexican versus U.S. first ball possession, Mexico hold the ball for 25 seconds, but it made 19 passes in 25 seconds, and then the ball got spiked down to the ground. That killed the ball possession, and they went to ball possession number 2. So within a ball possession, each team can steal the ball. I have the ball, your team has the ball, your team is attacking me, is trying to steal the ball from me. If you steal the ball and you start passing it, your points count. Okay. So you are stealing, and I have to steal it again. Until the ball touches the ground or leaves the court, it can be stolen infinite times.
Gotcha. So, but it's still considered the initial team's possession?
Yes, okay. Correct.
Well, wait a second. But the points change back and forth. Like, if you're on the other team, David, and I throw the ball to Max and you intercept it, now it's your ball, and the game just keeps going. And when you pass it to your teammate, it's a point, and it keeps going.
Right, until you guys get the ball back, but you're still on your possession.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Got it.
So I can score points while you're possessing the ball, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, 100%.
It sounds like a very, very tiring game to me, for sure. You know, and do you guys foresee this getting into the Olympics?
Hopefully, yes.
That's the goal. I mean, we were invited. We had an invitation, and we were going to the World Games last year. And they said, as long as you can bring 4 countries with that we can actually do a tournament within the World Games, we will automatically make it a part of the World Games. We like the game that much. What happened was one of the teams from one of the countries just wasn't able to put it together financially at the last few weeks, so we didn't get a chance to do that.
Right. What's the age range of like the top teams? Like, are they all adults pretty much, or are there kids on those teams too?
Well, the top. Typically, we look for. I mean, in international or tournament play.
Yeah, at the elite level, the highest level.
Really, I think the highest level is 16 to 30.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. It's like anything else. When you're in your athletic prime, that's when you're in your prime.
Right.
Doesn't matter what sport you're doing. Some sports you're able to go a little bit longer, some a little bit less. Fireball, although it's not intended to be a contact sport, we had 4 people go to the hospital when we were in the tournament in Mexico because you're moving so quickly. Right. You just people run into each other.
Is there any fouls or anything like that?
Yes. We have fouls. And, first foul is that everything that is voluntary, you go home. We don't accept, fireball is based on total respect. So if you try to stop somebody, willing to stop him or to hurt him, you go home. Right. Everything that is involuntary, first is an admonition, a warning. The second one, you sit 1 out. Second foul, the same person, you sit 1 out, 1 ball possession out. Third foul, you see 2 ball possessions out. Fourth foul from the same person, we start having a problem, so it means that you have to cool off a little bit. You start 1 game, which is 10 ball possessions out. If you go back and make another foul, the same person, the 5th foul, you go home and your team gets penalized with 30 points minus.
Now, because I see this sport going, if it gets popular, okay, which I hope it does for you guys' sake, I see there being 7-foot guys playing this sport where no one can get over their head, because those guys would have a huge advantage throwing the ball back and forth to each other, basketball players. How are people going to block the ball?
Let's talk to Evan. Who's Evan? Let Evan talk. Go ahead, Evan.
Well, when you say that there's 7-foot players that are actually going to be taking advantage, there are some guys that are really fast, but also the game is consistently run around. Like, you have to run, you have to stay on your feet. And usually those taller guys, they don't have as much stamina as those shorter guys that can just move around. You know what I'm saying? And when
you could train for that too, though. What about you see these guys in the basketball court moving the whole time? I mean, it's really a game of basketball, except you're not throwing the ball in the hoop, right?
No, you would be killed. Go on. I would challenge. I would gamble anything to get a bunch of professional athletes, starting from LeBron James.
That's what you should do. There you go.
Hey, LeBron,
challenge any professional basketball team. That's what you do.
We challenge you to be the Mexican team right now.
Get a U.S. basketball team, college basketball team, to challenge your best fireball team to the game. It would be a great It would be a great showdown. You could prove you could prove what great athletes the fireball guys are compared to the basketball players. I'm giving you guys a brilliant idea here, a marketing idea for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dave. You know any athletic directors at one of the Pac-10 schools?
I could find out. Even if you got a good high school basketball team to do it. I mean, I think it would be really cool because you could show the athleticism necessary for fireball, because everyone thinks basketball players are the best, conditioned guys out there, right? Because they have to run the whole time and they're shooting and, they're tall and they're these elite athletes. I'd love to see how a top basketball team would do against the fireball guys.
We actually, I think I mentioned to you, David, we reached out to the, we're going to be in contact. We sent a packet yesterday to the director of the Sports Authority in Saudi Arabia. So we're looking to set up an international tournament that, because of this whole thing with the COVID-19 and everybody being quarantined, we're actually looking to do, our idea is actually to do a tournament that's completely in-house for 6 to 10 weeks. So the athletes, the referees, the staff, everybody is basically quarantined during the time of the tournament.
Right. And
there's a lot of technological things that we can do to make it look like the arena's full, and you can have it a third full and all that kind of stuff. So,
you know what? Go to the WBA, the Women's Basketball Professional League. People aren't doing anything now. They're stuck. Find a basketball team that doesn't know what to do with themselves and say, hey, look, it's quarantine time. There's no league play. We'd love to challenge you guys to here's the sport. Guys, go practice it. We'll give you 5 weeks or 4 weeks to get in shape, and let's do a little tournament, a little kind of like a demonstration type thing.
Actually, that's a great idea. Besides the fact that we are considering now several cities, but in all cities it will be like a 5-star resort. Right now we are considering Cancun, Los Angeles, Riyadh, Rome, and Dubai. So it would be nice.
You got to do it with people who are well known. That's the key. You got to find these basketball players that people know. Even if you can't get the men, you get the women. Hey, the top U.S. women's basketball team against the fireball team, new sport. Let's see how they do. There's got to be a TV show that would put up some money for that.
Let's see how tough you are.
Absolutely. Well,
call Will Smith, Arnie.
What's that?
Call Will Smith up. Have him make it happen.
Yeah. Well, we actually
we talked about it yesterday, right?
Sometimes when you have contacts, you have to go back to them when you're further along with your project. Right?
The sport exists. There's nothing to go back to. You need a high-profile game to get this thing out there. That's the key.
Yeah,
absolutely right. Yeah.
In Los Angeles, let's get the Lakers. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah, there you go. You know the Kobe Bryant family. make it happen.
David, I'm ready to gamble to bet $100 with you. That if $100 I can do still.
Yeah.
that if LeBron, if you're listening, this is a challenge for you and your team. Come to wherever you want to play against the Mexican national fireball team. I bet on Mexico.
If you can make that happen, this sport would be on the map. I'm telling you. And you know what? You can thank Dave Palumbo for giving you that idea.
Oh, always, always.
Guys, I love the idea. I love the sport. It seems this is a sport that would be right up my alley when I was a kid for sure. Evan, I saw you playing in that video that your father sent me. You look like you were having a ball out there. Best of luck with the sport, guys. You got to keep me updated. If you get the LeBron James and team going to challenge the Mexican team, I want to know about it because I want ringside seats there.
You'll be the first to know, Dave.
All right, guys.
We'll get you ringside seats with 6 feet next to,
There you go. As long as I'm not sitting next to anyone, I'll be happy. Max Bartoli, congratulations on the great idea with Fireball. Arnie, good luck. I know you're involved in that as well and promoting that thing. And I'd love to see this thing hit big time. Yeah.
Dave, just so you know, I connected, we had an email sent to Jake Wood, Ed Connors, and that whole thing. Wow. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you guys. All right. But that's going to take us to the end of this RX Muscle News Update. I am Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, David.